Yeah, over to you, Nelson.
All right. Thank you. Welcome everyone for the session. Thank you, Kushbu, for organizing the session. So this session purely covers on Sitecore Marketer MCP and how we're going to use the custom client for connecting with the MCP servers, and how we're going to use this MCP Marketer MCP into the custom marketplace apps. Okay, that is what we're going to see. Um, going going through this thing, like we can see some of the options like the agent APIs and other things. Okay, we'll see one by one. So so this is basically about myself. I'm Nelson. I'm a senior solution architect from Horizontal from Dubai. Okay, I'm a Sitecore Technology MVP. This is our agenda for today's session, so which is Marketer MCP, as I just suggested. So we're gonna talk about Marketer MCP and how internally the Marketer MCP is gonna communicate with Sitecore instance using Agent API. That we're gonna see how that is gonna happen, and as I mentioned, like how we're gonna communicate with the custom client. Okay, instead of using VS Code or Cursor or Claude or Copilot. So instead of that one, how can you use a plain .NET application or Next.js application to communicate with this, um, which we can see. Um, and again, the marketplace app. So how we going to create a custom marketplace app using this EMCP server and create a small chatbot to list down some of the activities from the marketer MCPs. Okay, and finally we can go with the question and answer session. The first thing is, what is Sitecore Marketer MCP? So so a couple of months back, like there is a community. The community people are creating their own MCPs for communicating with the Sitecore. Like Sitecore instance, to create an item, to delete an item, or manage the sites and all those actions, right? So there is a community API, community MCPs already created, like a couple of months back, like maybe like 3 or 4 months back, I hope so. So this marketer MCP has been introduced, like more than that months. Yeah, the marketer MCP has been introduced from Sitecore as official thing. So using that, we can able to manage everything from our side. Okay, which can handle multiple scenarios, like even we can do personalization using the marketer MCP. We can even do A/B testing. We can rate a brand, generate brand reviews. Say for example, if you want to generate a brief, right, we can able to generate the brief, whatever there is available in Sitecore AI, which we can utilize using the marketer MCP. Okay, so these are all some of the things which I have listed here, like creating the pages, components update, managing the languages. Basically, if I want to show how many of websites are available in the particular tenant, I can just query in the chat, marketer chat, and it should give me all the available sites over there. Okay, so these are some of the basic information about the marketer MCP. So first of all, what is MCP? So if someone doesn't know what is MCP, MCP is basically before getting into the MCP, like there is a lot of AI providers available out there, like OpenAI, Anthropic, and many other, even Microsoft also having GitHub Copilot. So there is many other providers are out there. So everyone having their own way of communicating with their internal functions, right? So APIs are functions. Okay, so so basically what happened before is people have created their own tool calling APIs in the for individual SDKs, like .NET separately for OpenAI, .NET separately for Claude, and everything. They created their own app. So what this MCP comes into picture, like everything has been unified into a single unified industry standard provider. So where the tool calling will be unified. So we can easily call the same code for any kind of a model. So even you can use OpenAI, you can use any model. So it can be used for the same code would be used for calling the MCP service. End of the day, it's just a functional calling where behind the scene you can query your database, you can do whatever the action. So in this scenario, marketer MCP is purely doing the activities on the Sitecore instance, right? So that is what this marketer MCP is actually doing here. Okay, so as I mentioned, like the Sitecore Marketer MCP is actually providing these are some of the basic features which currently MCP server is providing. So which I already explained, like these informations. So let's talk about the agent API. Okay, so what do you mean by agent API? Okay, so how Sitecore, as I just mentioned before, right? So everything is a function calling, right? As a tool calling. So Marketer MCP is basically behind the scene. They're going to call a function or an API, which will does the job. So Sitecore Marketer MCP. When a client calls an MCP, when a client says like a prompting like create a page in Sitecore, right? So create an item in a Sitecore with populate with the following fields. Okay, if you provide that prompt in the chat, so what it does, it internally pass this request prompt to the agent API. So agent API will process the request. So it will accept the natural language, right? It will basically then my MCP will convert this prompt from natural language prompt into the relevant API structure. So that will be passed to the agent API, and the agent API will be responsible to call that Sitecore instance to do the activities on behalf of us. Okay, that is exactly what it is is currently working on right now. So agent API is basically, like as I mentioned, agent API is basically to interact with the connected Sitecore instance and perform various operations through the secure REST endpoint. Okay, so this is exactly the purpose of agent API. There is a lot of agent APIs available at the moment. If you count, there is 54 MCP tools available, and there is equivalent to that. We also have a relevant number of agent APIs also available. And one important APIs is not available in the Marketer MCP's jobs. Okay, we'll talk about the jobs right now soon. So before that, I just want to show the available tools which we have, which we are having in the Marketer MCPs. Okay, so these are some of the tools which is currently available in the Marketer MCP. So you can see all the tools. There's totally 54 tools available. A couple of months back, I ran the same option, extracting the same information. There was only 42 tools available, but recently they have introduced many more tools. Okay, from 42 now it is increased to 54 tools. So these are all the tools. So say for an example, if you want to do any personalization, right, you can just go to the chat box and you can have a create a personalization for a page or something. So everything, all the informations are available. So this is a tool name and the description, so which will internally do all the magic for us. Okay, so these are all the tools, like list of brand kits. So we have a lot of brand kits created, so we can say list all the available brand kits. So it will give us all the available brand kits. List the site example, that means provide me all the sites available in the particular tenant. So example, all the information which can give us. Which I say A/B testing. You can see there is a lot of options. I can create an A/B testing as well, which I can show you shortly how to do in the market in Sitecore AI portal itself. So let's go to the portal. Okay. So basically, this is the Sitecore AI portal, right? So as everyone aware of this one. So this Marketer MCP tools can be used in many places. Okay, you can use it in creation of agents and other places as well. So for now, for in order to create an agents and other thing, we need to have a seat allocations, which we need to given by your organization. But at the moment, the chat is open, so I'm using the chat, which anyone can use. So I'm trying to use the chat option, so where you could see all the available tools. So I can just select my Marketer MCP. So this is my Marketer MCP, and you can and I can even select my tools. Say for an example, personalization, whatever the tools I want to select. So these are all some of the tools which I have showed before, right? So these are all the tools, list, personalization, everything I want. I can select all the tools which I can select. So I can just ask here like list the site names available something. So it should give me the list of sites which is available. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let me still loading. It's still working. Anyhow, let me show you the other example which I have already created till now. All right. So anyway, it's the same thing. This is just the same thing. I just asked for a similar thing to create a personalization for a page where audience. I'm just defining the audience and the site name is basic. So it will try to create a personalization here. So it try to call all the I'm just giving a normal prompt only. I'm just attaching the marketer MCP I just mentioned attached here, and I just attach the same thing as a same tool, personalization tool, and it is trying to look for all the available sites, all the available languages. So this available sites, it tracks me all the available sites. So these are all the sites which has at the moment, all the sites wherever. So it's tracking all the sites and it is creating. It found the basic site which is I'm there, and it's um, trying to find the page, but because I asked the page where I want the personalization to be enabled, so it went to the ABC page and it created the personalization variant. Exactly. So whatever the prompt we can go ahead and provide it here, it will try to work on behalf of us. So this is how we can try to use our uh, MCP server in here. So let's talk about the agent API in action. So so first thing with the agent API is that, as I mentioned, right, every communication which we want to do from our side, right, as a developer, right, this agent API is not meant for the marketers, because marketers just go to the Sitecore AI portal and just they use the chat box which I just showed you. They can prompt it and it all the action will be done for them, right? But agent API is purely for the developer, where I want to create any custom application where I can do a different logic and call an API, right? So I can use an agent APIs here. So in order to call an agent API, first thing is we need to create an authorization token. And that authorization token we have to create. But before that, we need to do a client credential. We have to create a credential from the portal, which we can do it always from this deploy cloud portal under credentials tab, which we can create there. So we can create under this particular place. We can create the credentials from here. Okay, once the credential is been created, right? So we can go ahead and so let's see. Once a client, I just go ahead and doing this client credentials from the automation client thing, and it will give me the client ID and client secret. Once this is created, then basically what we are trying to do, we will be trying to communicate with this agent API through a postman or from any languages which you want. So first thing, I have created my so here I will be having in the body, I'm just providing my client ID, client secret, and other information. So I'm not want to show at the moment here. So anyhow, I'm gonna delete that one. That's fine. So this is our client ID, client secret. Then once that is done, I can generate the token, agent API token. Once the agent API token is created, right? So as I just mentioned before, right? So we can do a lot of activities using agent API. So one important activity is jobs. So what is the purpose of jobs? Take an example, right? We have a scenario like an user is keep updating and creating an items. Many items the user has been created, and he also updated multiple items. Multiple items has been updated. Multiple items he has been deleted, right? But suddenly there is a scenario like we want to roll back everything what that guy has been done, right? Which is difficult to track. The reason behind difficult to track is that we don't know like what are the items that particular user has been touched, where what are the fields you have modified. So we don't have the track, right? So with the help of job, we can able to revert it back immediately without having any problem here. So that is the main purpose. One particular feature from the agent API will helping us to do that particular feature. Okay, so one of them is I can show that one in action. So first I'm gonna copy the access token here, okay, from that agent API thing. I'm gonna create an item, which is again I'm gonna use agent API. This is our agent API thing to create a page. So I'm just gonna put the barrel token. Okay, so it just created an item in Sitecore as Sukin. So maybe if I can go here. Wait, this is my website. So right now we should see an item named Sugin should be added. Yeah, so you could see that item as in Sugin has been added here. So this is just recently right now added because of this API I have created. So but you can see the payload which is important here, right? So as I mentioned, like we want to roll back these items, right? So that is very important. So how can I roll back it, right? So there is one thing called job ID which I'm specifically adding it here. This is the header which we need to pass. And this name, the ID, we can pass any value, whatever the unique value based on our thing. Okay, so that we can have it here. So right now I added an item. So so example, like if I want to check whether this particular item has been tracked in the job, so we can just go to jobs. Okay, this is one more API. So as you can see the job ID, I'm just using the same job ID. Okay, I'm just gonna pass the access code token. So this is initially it was 7, now it was 8 because I was running this 8th job. So for this one, a new job has been there, right? So the job has been added. So if you want to get this more information on this one, so let's go it here and put. So what are all the observation it is has been done. So this will give us the. Okay, so this is the latest item which has just created. The item is create page overflow. As I mentioned, we just created a page, right? So it is just created for me. So you can even update the same item again. Say for an example, I can go to the update thing, same job ID, right? And this is something, right? I can just play with update. I just need to put authorization ID. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I need to. The ID is wrong. ID is wrong basically. So you see this ID here, right? The ID here, right? This ID I need to replace with the current Sukin ID which is just created. So once I need to copy the ID, and if I place the ID and if I send this one, this will be updating the item there. So this is the item ID which I just did. Okay. So once that is done, what we can do, just we can let me revert the job. So I have every information right now I have, but unfortunately I have to roll back all the changes. It can be any time. Okay, today, tomorrow, 1 month else also. You can just go ahead and have this job ID, and you can just put your auth token and click this one, and automatically this will be reverted. Let's see how this is working. So this is it's done. So let me go here and refresh this one more time. And this particular tool is not available for the marketer, as I said before. So marketer doesn't need to do this rollback option from their side because they just want to do it uh, basically from the marketer MCP, not behind the API. So if you see that Isukun API the item is not available at the moment, so it has been removed. So this is the important thing about the job API, or one which is in the agent API. Okay, so these are all some of the basic things. Okay, now, these are the basic information about the marketer MCP and agent API. Now we'll talk about the custom client, which is important for us. So as I mentioned, right, using the client, right, you usually connect with the client using VS Code or something, right? So, but point here is that the marketer not able to communicate with that because marketer doesn't have access to Visual Studio Code or Cursor or something because that's a purely a developer tool, right? So take an example here, not this one, this one, okay. Take an example. Yeah, this is basically your marketer MCP's thing. Okay, so basically, if you're using this one, we can able to communicate. We can able to connect with the marketer MCP, right? So when I start this one, okay, where I need to log out this one. Give me a second. So that I guess I want to stop it. Okay, it's already started. Okay, anyhow, so what will happen now? Basically, this will open a screen in the UI. which will ask us to interactive authentication. Based technically, what do you mean interactive authentication? It will open a browser. In the browser, where you need to allow the access, and you need to select your tenant, and you need to select your website. From there only, it will authorize you to get into this. Uh, this MCP will be added to your VS Code, right? So, because this is basically interactive authentication. Interactive authentication, basically, you have to manually click the buttons and do your authentication. Okay, it is not automated one, so you have to do that one. So technically, again, if you want to do any custom programming language and all those things, right? So this can't be done because you have an interactive authentication, right? You programmatically you can't do it. Okay, that is where we want to create our custom client application there. Okay, because this is right now automated way. In VS Code we can just doing automated way where I can directly use it here, and I can have all the maybe list site. This will give me all the options for me, all the available sites available for me. But technically for marketers, they want to use a marketplace app where they can play with the application, right? So with this help they can't use. So that's where we're gonna use the custom application. Okay, so now with how we gonna do the custom client, right? So first thing is, as I mentioned, this is our default convention for marketers. Now we'll talk about how we're gonna create the marketer MCP in .NET, okay, on the site Next.js application. So in order to understand this one, right? So basically how the authorization happening at the moment is, as I mentioned, it's an interactive authentication. That means like you need to open a browser where you need to click the tenant and you need to select the website, right? Behind the scene, the process is called as authorization code flow, okay, or interactive authentication, okay. That is the process, okay. So technically, these are all the steps will need to happen when I need to do authentication from the programming language like C# or anything. Okay, so basically first is initial handshake, and then a protected resource metadata recovery. So what do you mean by that, right? So initially, if you go ahead here, right, this is basically the URL for connecting with the Sitecore Marketer MCP, right? When I click that one, I can't able to access this directly, right? Because it is using interactive authentication, right? So this browser doesn't have interactive authentication enabled, because VS Code is enabled to do that one. So how we need to do programmatic? So basically, with the help of network tab, I can able to identify what is the endpoint which I need to go for. So basically, it will give me the endpoint, like this is the endpoint. It is called protected resource metadata. Okay, so basically this basically from this URL, I can able to get an authorization server. So basically, authorization server is responsible for us to provide the authorization informations, right? From there, again, I need to register my application. I need to like register my client, right? Client is basically your application. That is your client. Initially, the client is VS Code, right? Now we need to register our application as a client. Then after registering my application, it will give me the authentication access token. Okay, with the help of access token, I can pass it to every API request. Okay, that is the purpose of authorization token. Okay, so now like let me show an example how this is happening. Okay, now as I mentioned, this is a marketer URL, right? And from the marketer URL, I got this URL from the browser, this browser, this protected resource, and that the response is giving me an authorization server. So my authorization server is basically your Sitecore Cloud Portal URL. From there, I'm trying to access my authorization server, right? I need to access my authorization. From there only, I can get the information about my registration endpoint. See, these are all the endpoints. You see these endpoints. Authorization endpoint, register endpoint, token endpoint. This is all the information I will be getting only from this authorization servers, right? Once I got this information from there, I need to individually call these endpoints to authorize the endpoint, to register my client, and finally getting my access token. So these are all three important endpoints, which is important for me to enable my application to communicate with my MCP server from using any Next.js application or .NET or any application. This is the common standard from of the model context protocol standard. Okay, so if we can be able to go to the website of model context protocol, we can able to see the same thing there. Okay, so these are all the sample registration request. Okay, where you can see this client ID. This client ID is basically a browser which is generating. For VS Code, that will be giving a VS separate URL for you, and I hope you guys already seen this authorization, your sample authorized URL. Basically, this is a URL where we will be placing on the browser, and that will prompt you with a screen. From there, only all the action will be taken care. I will show it in action right now. And finally, the sample tokenization. This is where access token will be retrieved, and from there we will be accessing it. Okay. So let me show a sample in .NET application quickly. So this is the purely .NET application where I'm doing the same process what VS Code automatically doing from their side, right? Right now, I'm not using VS Code. I'm just using programmatic to connect with the MCP servers, okay? Because as I mentioned, it need an authentication to be happen, right? So first thing, discovery. This is where the PRM, protected resource management, as I mentioned. So we have this one. So we have this URL you see here, right? So same URL. From there, I can get my So I can get my all the information about it. So which I showed you before. So from there, this authorization server is important for us. From there only, we will be getting all the other informations. So right now the authorization server is we got it. So from there now we will be getting now we are tracking the authorization servers. So now we are calling the registration API. Okay. So this you see the registration API. So right here we are actually trying to register our application. So from once the registration application is done, then we'll be creating our token generation as well. So let's run it directly. So this is the URL. You can see this is our client ID. This is the client ID which is generated from our site. Okay. This is what we generated, the client ID, right? This is the exact URL we talked about. The client ID will be generated and it will be registered as well. And the scope and everything we actually got from the servers only, the whatever the URLs we just tried out. Okay, this is the same URL when you use VS Code or Copilot or Cloud. The same URL, the same page will be loaded for you automatically. But for us, it's not automated. We need to do programmatically. So I can do the same thing. So you can see my fallback is going to here, which is my local host only. I can give all access. From there, it will take me to the same place where I need to select my tenant. I need to select my website. From there, once that is done, it actually logged in me. Okay. So right now you can see that it actually created this one, and it has like totally 54 tools. So every information has been tracked here, right? So this is how we will be connecting with this MCP server. So now if you want to call an LLM from here, yes, I can able to call an LLM from here. I can call an LLM, which I already had in my GitHub Copilot account API key here in my application. So where I can call my LLM as a list site or something, which will give me the list of available sites here. Now this time it will not call me again with the same option, because this time it is the token which is created. I'm just store it into some cached variables. From there, right now it is fetching it. So now any subsequent call, that API will be passed to MCP server, so that I can get information here. So basically, I'm just using Microsoft Agent Framework right now to communicate with this MCP servers. So that is what it is actually. So okay, I'm directly calling the tool right now. Okay, fine. Okay, so you can see it is already calling a list API here. It is giving me all the list available here. So basically, I have the prompt like list sites. So I can have anything like give me all the sites available, or any kind of prompt I can show. It will give me all the informations available from the Sitecore. Okay, so let me go back to the slide now. No, this is the basic thing about how authentication works with a custom client, and same thing we can do it in Next.js application as well. Basically, at the end of the day, we need to have 3 or 4 endpoints only, which I just showed. We can try to access it where we'll be getting the register endpoint, authorize endpoint, and tokenization endpoint. From there, we can able to register our particular client basically this client will be registered in our Sitecore Cloud Portal only. Okay, so Sitecore Cloud Portal needs to know who is actually communicating with us. Okay, so we can't see that one in the Cloud Portal directly. So through the API only we can able to access it or add it. Okay, we can't directly add in the Sitecore Cloud Portal. Okay, so it is through the API only. Okay, so now the next thing is like marketplace apps, right? So because we need to connect with the marketplace app with the same options what we just tried, right? So first thing, in order to create a marketplace app, there is two types of marketplace app. One is a client side app and one is a server side app, right? And also we have authentication option, two different authentication option, right? One is like where we just need to use automated SDK will do all the authentication on behalf of us. One will be we need to do our authentication, which is a server side authentication where we need to do auth0 authentication from our side only. Yeah, okay. So these are all the two types of authentication which we are using it at the moment. So these are the basic step how this is actually working, like how the user logs in and the iframe is getting loaded. So everything is added to the iframe. At the end of the day, like whatever the marketplace have we created, everything is added to an iframe, and all the communication will be happening using the post message API, which is a browser API. So which will help us to communicate with the from the iframe to the parent and parent to the iframe. So this is both interchangeable communication will be happening using the post API. This is not from Sitecore. This is a default API, okay, which is already available. We can use it in JavaScript, in JS, whatever the application. This is nothing tied to the Sitecore version. Okay. Sitecore. So yeah, once that is connected, we can use the post message and we can communicate from the client setting. And server side is this thing is something we need to create our token, and from there we need to pass the token to the APIs, and where we can communicate with our MCPs and even for accessing any items or anything from Sitecore if you want, right? Something like that. Yeah. All right. This is basically how, one important thing right now. So a couple of months back, like there is no such thing called like a marketer, like Sitecore not have any out of the box way to communicate with the marketer MCP from custom application, custom marketplace application. Recently, Sitecore as a provided marketplace app can also be able to communicate using communicate with Sitecore instance using this marketplace MCP server as well. So that is called the AA SDK. So at the moment, we can use any kind of AA SDK. We have Cloud AA SDK is there, Virtual AA SDK is there, Open AA SDK is there. There is a sample which is already provided by Sitecore in the portal. So we can go ahead and check that one. So basically that is using the Virtual SDK, AA SDK. So where the communication is very, very straightforward, where you can easily communicate with the marketer MCP from your marketplace app. Okay. So well, these are the basic things how we are going to communicate with the marketer MCP. So basically, like you can see, there is the X Sitecore context ID header. Okay, this is very important. See, as I mentioned, right? In everything initially, when we want to do any authentication, you need to communicate. You need to select what is your tenant ID, what is your website, everything you need to manually select using interactive authentication, right? So that way the system knows which site you are in, what is your context. The system knows that one. But using this marketplace app, how the system will know it? So that will know using this X Sitecore context ID. Okay, with the header. Now, in each and every API call we are passing, this header you have to be passed. So basically, then the MCP server will know like this is your particular context, and based on that, it will try to communicate and try to change your logics. Okay, and so that is how it is trying to communicate with your things. Okay, okay. These are some of the basic functions in the AA SDK. So stream text, basically you're streaming the text. So when I search for something, it will stream the text. So again, these are all some of the MCP tools which we are trying to use it. So yeah. Okay. So how to access this one? Right. So there is a different way to install this marketplace MCP. One is the client side and server side. So basically, technically, like if you want to use client side, there is no need of if you don't need any access to any APIs or something, then definitely go with client side. But if you want to go with the server side, yes, you need to create maybe the full stack application where you need to create client credentials as well, which is very important. So we will talk about that as well. Okay. So these are the packages which need to create. So so example, if I want this, is you see this method here, right? This is basically if I want to create a server side code to communicate with the Sitecore. So basically, we can use this experimental feature to do that in the highlighted in yellow color. This is some of the basic sample queries which we can use it in the marketplace, where this is basically from client mutate. Basically, I'm doing some update to the Sitecore items. Basically, if you see XM client, is basically I'm using the server side. Basically, this is a client side, server side. This is mutate means I'm updating. If there is anywhere you can see a client dot query, that basically you're trying to just querying instead of updating anything. So we can even see that this is the same thing what we just. So okay, let me show that one in action right now. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, the first thing is that in order to create a custom marketplace application, right? So we need to go to the portal and we need to do some configuration, which we'll talk about that. Before I will show it before this one. I'll show it first this one, and we'll talk about that configuration. Okay, so this is basically our marketplace app. So I'm actually inside this page editor. So where you can see the couple of lot of tools are there. So I want to personally show you two tools here, which is this chat button here, and this chat button here. So this chat button is basically which we just discussed about our MCP client, right? So this is exactly what I'm talking about. So right now, what I'm trying to do, I did the same thing what I did in next .NET application, where I'm manually calling all the authorization endpoint, tokenization endpoint, everything. I can try to allow the access here, right? Which will again take me to the same tenant selection, site selections. From there, this will access me. Okay, that is fine. We can just reload that one. I need to go and open it here. Okay. All right. So basically, so the callback, there's a callback option is there. I'll show the callback. So that is having some problem. Maybe I don't want. Let me have a workaround there. That's what I'm trying right now. So I work on. So basically, I just need to manually put it in the browser. So that will try to add it to my. So as I mentioned, right, you have to store your credentials somewhere. Your client has to be registered, and you need to store the credentials somewhere, the access token, so that any consequent call, you need to pass it that one, right? So right now, that is what happened when I directly type the URL in the browser. So this is, I'm trying it right now. So let me list the sites from here. So right now, this is connected with my GitHub Copilot. Let's see if it's returning any results or any token exceptions. Yeah, it's returned me a result. So this is purely from the LLM, where I'm connected with my Sitecore MCP server. So now it is communicating with the Sitecore instance. So this is one way which we can communicate if you want to do a custom of your authentication, everything on your custom side. Then you can play with these informations which we just discussed. The other one is basically we can close this one. This is basically we talked about the AA SDK, right? Which the out of the box Sitecore is providing us the snip code where it will using the Versal SDK to communicate this one, right? So this again, I try to do the same thing here as well. So let's see it's working here or not. So yeah. Okay, while that is loading, yeah, it's thinking. So it's working basically, yeah. So you see the difference here, right? Yeah. So it's a different results. Which technically you can see in that case it is purely coming from your LLM only, right? So based on our way of request prompt, it will provide us the different results for us. Okay. So so let me show you some sample of before doing that. I can go ahead and show you how I have actually configured this one, right? So I created an app, custom web app, where I have created my client credentials here. You can see this is my client credentials, where I have created my URLs. You can see my URLs, my item explorer. This is my URL. You can see in the browser. If you can see in the browser also, it should be the same URL only. My item explorer. You see, it's the same URL. So I actually added all the URLs into my callbacks. So I mentioned the callback has some problem, right? That is the problem, one problem. But you can see every callback has been added here. So technically everything should be automatically when any request results done, an automatic callback URL will be getting called, and it need to update the token or something. So that's exactly what we have been going to do. So these are all other URLs which we need to configure, and everything is configured to use localhost 3000, and I'm using my custom host because I'm using an HTTPS. So I'm planning to use my full stack web application, the regular web application. So basically, if you go ahead and create this one, so where you have a single page application and regular web application. So for regular web application, I need to create SSL certificate, right? Basically, because you need to communicate with OAuth, Auth0 authentication ways. Okay, so basically, you need to create your own way of doing it. Okay, so for that I have created, but temporarily I'm not showing that one at the moment. I'm just showing you the SPA only, but still I'm using my um, certificate, HTTPS certificate for this one. Okay, so these are all the extension point. As everyone aware, these are all the extension points where I can provide my different URLs. Like you see the routing URLs, which is just a slash. In that case, by default homepage from my Next.js application will load this one. So basically, this is my default homepage Next.js application URL. This is default homepage Next.js application URL. So if you can see there's a key value list, you see something like that. This is basically a custom field. Basically, this is basically it's again a one more route. Or this route will be enabled only when this particular page is went to this particular URL. Okay, so I can go to that particular URL programmatically behind the scene. Let me see. I can remove this one. Maybe this page. I don't know which page is it. Okay. Yeah, this page. Right. Doing I actually removed might be. So yeah. So technically what will happen basically, right? When this is added to the custom field. So you can see this UI here, right? I can show the UI quickly here. So you can see this route, this custom page layout route, right? This layout route is actually coming from the key value list route only. I'm just added to the home page as well. So I added two pages, two places I added. So this section will alone load when I click that particular field option, and you can just add your key value list, multiple key value list, and it can be stored as a JSON here. Okay, so that is the purpose of this particular tool which I used. Okay, now let me go walk through quickly the code, what we have done here. So that's that you can understand exactly what is happening behind the scene in terms of the marketplace app with respect to the AI SDK. Okay, so the first thing is, so let me go to the actual AI SDK. Okay. Yeah. So this is our chatbot is basically our MCP created by us, the MCP server, where you can see under app APIs, where this will call all the endpoints like discover endpoints, authentication tokens, and I'm gonna call my models. So there's a lot of things I'm doing here, but you're gonna have tool calls and everything, because everything is manually done by us, right? As a um, normal client, we are connecting with the client through ourselves, right? This is something we need to do manually from our side. All the client calls, call the tools, and everything we will be doing ourselves only. Um, but if you go here, this another method which is basically come the marketers thing, where we can see again I'm using this GitHub model only because that is the only model I'm using at the moment. So you can see this context ID here. This is the exact context ID we need to pass in order for the authentication to be happen out of the box. I'm not creating any out of the box. I'm not creating any authentication manually, right? Here it's everything because it's out of the box. AI SDK is doing for us, right? So I'm just passing the context ID here, and from where I'm getting the context ID, I can get the context ID from the application context. So if you guys already aware of application context how it works, so that will be easy to understand. Okay, so here, this is the root of the application, like people used to call use marketplace client, right? This is the exact thing where we'll be creating our client initiation will be happening, everything here, okay? So application context will provide you all the application context about your marketplace app, your marketplace ID, description, all other information about the marketplace application, okay? You can use a page context if you want. Page context is basically like on what page you are in currently at the moment, right? If you are using your home page, then you are using your marketplace tool on that page. If you access the context of that page, yes, you can use the page context, and it can be able to provide you all the information to you. Okay. Suppose like if you want to do a mutation, right? So example, you can use a mutation, and again you can have all the informations here. Yeah, you can see all kind of activities I can do with mutations like XMC page, create page, delete page, everything. We can able to do it here. Okay, one important thing I just want to show it before, which is the AI feature. Right now, there is one more AI feature which is introduced here, which is called this one. You can see here, there's one thing called brand review API. Okay, these are all the first we need to give access to the app like what are the APIs we're going to consume using the Marketer MCP, right? So first thing for the marketplace, what are the APIs I need to consume? So I have provided access to all this APIs. Now I have given access to brand review API. This will give me the brand review. Say for an example, I'm providing a content and asking that the Sitecore AI to give me whether this particular content is valid based on my brand kit. Okay, it will suggest me whether it is uh, perfect or not perfect, something, or else it give me suggestion as well, something like that. Okay, wait a minute, I need to roll back this change. Okay. What happened? Did I made any change? broke the system. This is the one last thing I want to show you before closing it. Okay, good, it's loaded. So we can see here called brand review. This is the one more uh, a package which we are using. So basically we have three packages. One is the client package. If you want to create a marketplace app, we need to create a client package. And if you want to communicate with the XM cloud, which is the Sitecore AI, which is the XMC package. And if you want to connect with the AI, which is a brand review API, right? Then you need to use the AA package. Okay. So that here I'm actually using the AA package here. So what I'm trying to do, I'm just trying to create my brand kit. If I have a brand kit ID, and I can provide whatever the title and content here, and I just run a brand review, it will provide me the actual review information review to me. Okay, so this is exactly the brand reviews thing. So I can quickly show you that one. So yeah, so here you can see this is one more thing called so previously we saw like experimental XMC, right? This is experimental AI, right? This is because my package is now AI package. This is one more package which we want to add. Okay, once we added that one, it will give me the scoring and everything. I can show you immediately in the API itself, which we already added here. So this is some of the sample examples. This is how it will show in the front UI as well. So so right now I'm using agent API here as an agent API, but technically you can use Marketplace MCP server there in the same which is this one. This is communicated with the MCP only, but it will be the same response. So I'm just trying to put it here itself. So where I'm just using the brand kit ID here. Okay, I can copy this one if needed. More or less should be same. And yeah, we can have the section fields is basically like in your brand kit, you will be having a tone of voice, your brand description, your brand guidelines. There's a lot of sections will be there, right? That is called sections, and each and every section will have individual fields level, like so that is basically it has been added here. Okay, once that is ran, okay, it give me the response something like yeah, how about the score of your content and everything. Okay, and again, how I got this brand kit ID, because we can't get the brand kit ID directly from Sitecore Stream Portal. You need to use an API, which is a Sitecore Stream API, which we need to use this API to get that information. Again, you need to create your credentials in the Sitecore Stream Portal. API key. Once the API key has been generated, then we have to go ahead and list your all the available brand kits in your portal. These are all available brand kits in my portal. So you can see these are all the available brand kits in my portal organization. So from there you can see I just took this particular brand kit ID. Once the brand kit ID is taken, I can select for the individual brand kit, and I can get all the sections. You see, brand belief benefits, all the sections, brand concept, everything. This is for the particular brand kit. How many sections I have? Based on that, it will give me all the information as a section. When using this section on the brand review API, I can just provide me the sections, and I can generate the scores for that one. This is exactly what happening in MCP as well, in the agent API as well. Both does the same job. Okay. That's it, mostly from my side. These are some of the reference links which I have using for these things. So if you want to create any JavaScript application like this custom application, we can go ahead and use this one. I think it's opening somewhere. Yes. So this is basically how the marketplace application has been created. So all the documents has been here. So this is the AI package which I just talked about. This is for the brand review, and almost all the this is the model context protocol link which I just talked about. Using this reference only, I have created this all the custom client API. So if you want to create any custom client, so we always use this portal. So you can even all the tools you can see the Excel sheet which I just created, right? This Excel sheet is not something I took from the website. It's programmatically I have created using this same tool, which actually loop through each and every tools from there, and it added to that my Excel sheet. And one more thing you can see here. This is my secret token. This is the access token which is coming from my Sitecore after a web registration, and this is the same information I'm passing into every API consequent API calls. This is what happening in your VS Code. This is exactly I'm doing it in my application as well. So the access token will be always passed to the user in every API calls. Any questions?
If you have any questions, you can discuss now, or you can reach out to Nelson or me later as well. I think there are no questions as of now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will write some articles related to this one so that it should be useful. I'll update the articles in a detailed manner. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That would be helpful. Thank you. Thank you, Nelson, for presenting your knowledge, sharing the knowledge with us. It was very insightful. And thank you all for joining. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for
Thank
joining.
you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.